All right, welcome everyone to this episode of Shooting the Shit. I think what episode are we on?
Hold on.
6 or 7.
It's
It's
six
six
or
or
seven.
seven.
Yeah, something like that. Episode 6 or 7. We've been on a bit of a hiatus. It's been difficult to record an episode. As you can see, the market is not too hasn't been motivating us to record these, but we're here and we plan
We're,
on hoping
we're
to be
here for a
consistent.
therapy session.
We're here for a therapy session. We're
Yeah.
here for a therapy session, and I enjoy talking to my friends, and I think we're gonna try to be more consistent and do this call once a week. But yeah, guys, what's going on? Where are we at? Where we are mentally
Okay,
speaking.
I'm gonna read you a tweet I just read, and I literally September 5th, 3:35 p.m. I read this shit that says, "Who wants to see ETH price start with a 1 and SPX start with a 4?" I didn't need to see that shit, bro.
Oh my god! Wait, who posted
Oh,
that?
dude, Rhino.
Oh, Rhino, he's pretty good. Rhino's pretty good.
Yeah, man's got a hella hit rate. That's where my brain is at right now. Pure sadness. I don't think we've started a pod, dog, and ended it where price has gone up. I
That's
think
true, and
ever.
I'm actually keeping an eye
Ugh.
on Bitcoin right now because I'm about to short.
I genuinely think we're a counter signal every time we start. I think like there's a short setup somewhere during this podcast.
For sure.
Somewhere.
Yeah, I think
I
I've
think-
been shilling FTM since episode 1, and it's gone down like
Keeps going
70%
down.
since then.
It goes on after every episode that we record.
I will get my vengeance one day.
Yo.
We can't even say you're using anybody for extra liquidity because like these pods come out the day after. So, like,
That's true. So you're actually giving it to people at a discounted price, to be honest. By the time they watch it, it's
Facts.
already been discounted.
if you want to buy
Um,
Phantom, wait till the episode comes out and Hoeem
Yeah.
goes through his daily Phantom shill. And
So
honestly,
I've-
it looks like shit right now. So you might
I haven't even
might
looked
get your
at that
chance.
shit because I sold my bags like once it broke down like way higher. But
yeah. I've stabled up quite hefty after that recent little pump. Yeah, I don't
That's
know,
what I do.
things seem off a little bit, and
Yeah.
I want, for me, I mean, this is such a pico bottom signal right now. That I'd rather buy when we're trending a little bit and we're
Yeah,
on the right side of the V, and see what's hot at that point. You're not
for sure.
at the moment. I feel like you're going to be catching a knife, and I wouldn't rule out seeing BTC start with the number 4, in the not too distant future. But that's something
Yeah.
Stoic can talk a little bit more about.
If you listen closely, you can hear the faint traces of any boner I've ever had erasing after that sentence.
Yeah, I mean, just look at if you look at Bitcoin on 4-hour chart, right? Since we had the high on the 25th, it's not even like catching a knife. It's just a grind down. Like we're just grinding down. Like this PA is. I mean, you don't need to be a genius to like. I mean, you put this chart in front of like a 8-year-old and be like, okay, which direction is this shit going? It's going down. It's grinding down. So, and yeah, I don't think it makes. I mean, it's losing some key levels, and there's nothing constructive right now. You know what I'm saying? Even if this is a bottom, and we're making like, I don't see anything constructive for sustained upside. Like every time we get, even yesterday or what was it, the day before, we got like a 1 or 2% pump, and everyone's like, "Oh, fucking bull market's back 100K next," and it's like, "Oh, come on, bro!" Like,
Oh, it's painful.
yeah,
It just
I-
doesn't look good. Like anytime we hit some kind of like structural support, we bounce and then just immediately get smacked back down, like with no semblance of continuation.
exactly. I
They need
mean,
to
there's
shoot.
no. Yeah,
Go
go
on.
ahead. On.
Okay, I was gonna. Well, my comment was stupid. I was gonna say they need to shoot Trump's left here, and then we can have a little rally as long as they miss.
They need to miss him again,
Yeah,
and then we
I
can
was
run
so
it up.
pissed. I was so pissed when that happened. Like as in, that sounds fucked up, but like the fact that the market was rallying out of nowhere, because I just stabled up because we looked like we'd done some bearish shit, breaking out of a big range. And then I went on holiday and we just reclaimed it. And I was like looking at the news. I was like, oh wow, okay, that's going to increase Trump's, chances of being the next president, and we're just gonna gigapump. And I think we went from like 57 or 58 all the way, and we went and touched range highs again, and then got shot back down. But that was painful,
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
because I came back in thinking we're gonna break range highs like an idiot.
Yeah, and like, man, even on the first breakdown when we were down at the yearly VWAP and then we reclaimed it, that's what I kept talking about. Hey, like, make sure you don't get too bullish at the range high. Like, just wait for confirmation and understand. Like, obviously, you if you try to catch the bottom and you do successfully do that, you tend to, you're obviously early to the game and you make more money and there's like more chance to make more money. But like in the long run, I think it's just better to wait for most people. I would say 9 out of 10 people. Let's just wait before you're looking to get in.
I agree. I think most people make like there's some people like I mean like yourself, Stoic, and I think even probably you've been struggling a little bit, but like people that's really good low time frame scalping, and this is there's a handful of people, and they've usually got years and years and years of traditional market and crypto market experience, trading experience that are able to deal with these things. Where if you're like trying to swing trade, anything that you feel in one direction, you should do the exact opposite. Because if you feel like something's coming for some momentum up, then chances are it's going to go down. And I think the area where everyone's getting their arse handed to them is every time they think it's going to go up, they're buying, thinking they're going to be able to catch the momentum to the upside, and then it's bleeding straight away, and then they're selling the local bottom, then it's doing the same thing again, and they're going, fuck, I'm gonna have to buy again, trying to catch the momentum. Then it's going a little bit lower, and they're selling lower, and it's just going to catch people off who are like enthusiasts and want to buy their bags. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's just been illiquid as fuck. You know what I mean? I mean, this like it's just not a good environment right now to get in on, to be honest, unless you're intraday scalping or doing that kind of stuff, which I honestly like. I do, obviously, depending on the context of the market, like I'll scalp, but I more so enjoy swinging or being on a like a medium time frame. So most of my charts you'll see like I used to post like 4 hour charts, but now it's like lower time frame charts just because of the environment we're in. But yeah, I mean, that's, the one thing I was telling you guys about this too is Coinbase has been trading under Binance Spot. So the Coinbase premium has been negative. And not to say that's an end all be all, but that's like one parameter to keep an eye on. Like once that starts happening, like the trading environment is not conducive to like sustained upside until that switches. So, for anyone listening in, I'm sure you've seen this on Twitter. People talk about it all the time. Look at Coinbase. Something to look at is Coinbase Premium and how it's trading against Binance Spot. So, yeah. I mean, I actually I could have just taken a short here, which I did it, and we
Dog, I
actually
was
did get
looking
it
at
to
it.
the downside.
I was like, there's no way we
We're actually
started dumping.
we started
hard.
dumping as soon as we started recording this episode.
oh for real.
Yeah,
I
I mean it's
swear
not
to
a
God.
hard dump, but yeah, it looks. I could have at least taken the scalp short here.
It's honestly it's pretty impressive because that is. Come on, man. Is this the luck? Is this us? Is what happens?
I think so, man. Something's going on.
This shit's been brutal, dog. Like this whole
Yeah.
this isn't the worst thing that I've ever gone through in crypto. What was it, like 2018 or 2019? That shit was truly abysmal, and there was no like good coins for anything. Like it was basically still just Bitcoin and ETH. But like this has been like because everyone's thought it's been a bull market, and it probably still is to a degree, but like that mindset has trapped people, including me, into thinking like, oh, like don't worry, like you can buy pretty much anything, it's going to go higher in a few months, and then it doesn't.
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean,
just set
remember we had
everything
this
set.
conversation a while ago where we were talking about, hey, like people were saying, hey, it's like the beginning of the bull market, and we're fucking like. Meanwhile, we're like, there's all this volatility near previous all-time high, and I'm like, I don't know about it being like the beginning of a bull market. Like, bro, like look at the move that Bitcoin has put in already. I don't know about the beginning.
What if it
Mm.
is though? What if it was just like this? The whole move up at the beginning of the year or whatever was just a telegraphing of like all the ETF stuff, and it was just pure momentum based.
It's all
And then
leverage. That's what it was.
yeah,
Look,
because
like,
like people were just like flaring up on that, right?
Yeah, but that's how those things start, and then if there's not enough new people coming in, then this goes back.
Well, we know
yeah,
there's no fucking new money. We're all
Yeah.
just sloshing around the same pool of
yeah, it's
cash.
been the same money that's been rotating through. You got the ETF. But look, I'm not a psycho. I don't claim to be a psycho expert or anything. I just trade what I see in front of me. So yeah, it's. I mean, in terms of like, let's talk about this, right? In terms of narratives, what do you think is the next narrative, or what do you
Trump.
think makes price go up now? You think Trump?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I think that
Presidency,
that
historically,
that
right?
yeah, that's the one. So I think at some point between now and November, I think you need to be just looking at trying to find an area that you're happy with buying. Genuinely, I think, and then if Kamala Harris gets in, just sell it all. If Trump gets in, then hold it all, and we're gonna have a little run. And you have to think like there's a reason why all these top, Monad, Bearer Chain, all these top funded VC coins, they're all planning to launch around Q4. There's hundreds of millions, tens of millions invested here. If you think they don't have some of the best portfolio strategists as part of their team as to when to launch in favorable conditions, then you're like mistaken. They will have those people that are the best of the best, and there's a reason why they've chosen that area to try and launch. So yeah, I'm still optimistic for later down the line. That doesn't mean we're not gonna get a lot of pain before that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, fair point. And I always like to play devil's advocate because yeah, I like to look at both sides of the coin, right? So
Mm.
I do think Trump is definitely a narrative if he gets elected, but I don't know how strong of a narrative that really is, to be honest. Like in my eyes, I don't know yet.
I don't know
I
what
think
we
it's a
need
positive.
though either. You know what I mean? Like, because you know what the best narrative is fucking price going up.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean, really.
And we talked about this a while ago too. I think if Bitcoin were to break 100K, that's when you can get in a lot of added interest, right? But what is gonna like that's what I've been thinking about recently.
What gets us there?
What gets us to 100?
Hmm.
We're at fucking 55 right now.
I don't know if that
I don't
do you
know, but I
need.
think
It's almost like you need better markets or like
the
worse markets.
yeah, these were the exact same questions like last summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
that's
and
something to think about as well.
these always come around, and sometimes price going up is the narrative
Yeah,
in
no, price
itself,
itself is a
and
narrative for sure.
yeah, and
Exactly.
we make things and attach things to it as it's
Right.
going up.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like we always you start to think, well, what is the catalyst? Like, why should it go up? And that's usually like near or close to where where
Where it
all
starts going up,
hope
yeah.
is gone. Yeah, usually, yeah, just
Yeah.
sentiment
Yeah.
wise.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what I think we need is honestly just like a massive cleanse. Not even like a price cleanse, but like think of it this way: the only like really marketable crypto we have is Bitcoin and ETH, and then you could say like Sol as an up and comer, right? Like you really only have Bitcoin and ETH as marketable to everyone, right? Everybody kind of vaguely knows what it is or has at least heard of it. But like in order to really get past the fact that we're just all kind of sucking each other off in the same LP pools, is you need more people to like get involved. But there's just too much fucking shit. Like I wake up every day and there's 7 new L2s. Like
Yeah, it's just the
the
saturation.
fragmentation in this space is crazy. It makes it hard. Like I'm in the space 24/7. You guys are too, for the most part. There's shit I miss like consistently, and I'm like, where did this come? Like, so imagine you're a brand new entrant. You come in, you go, okay, I'm ready to buy my first crypto. And you hit chains, and there's 700 options.
Yeah,
Like, either shit needs to be simplified, or like we need the dog shit chains to just go to 0 and just wipe them off. Kind of like how we did like the last time. Like it felt like a lot of shit just died out and the new stuff took over that was actually useful. Now it just kind of feels like we're getting a bunch of stuff that's not useful, but people just keep doing like fucking Pendle goes hard and then a bunch of different yield splitters come off and do the same thing. Which I know you need competition, but like, these VC guys have more money than God apparently because they're funding the same projects 12 times over.
yeah, and I mean, going back to the. Sorry, go ahead, Hoeem.
I was going to say, I think chain abstraction is a big narrative.
Yeah, because of that,
Coming,
I think.
Yeah, like I think
Like
people
that,
need
like
to go.
aggregation.
People need to go to a protocol and be able to access liquidity from all these different chains and find whatever like imagine if you can yield farm across all the chains and just type in ETH, single exposure, no impermanent loss, whatever, and just find the best yield on every single one of these chains and then just deposit, mix it about. Imagine how powerful that would be.
Agreed.
You could just do that in one simple place.
Yep. Who's building this, please?
Yeah.
Someone?
I think that there is a lot of things being built for chain abstraction, but I don't know if that. Yeah, I don't know. Not too clued up.
Yeah, I guess right now is a good time to also keep an eye on, who's continuing to build and keep an eye on certain narratives. And then going back to the original point of like the discussion of like what's going to take us up and what's going to take us down. Even though I do entertain these conversations, like for me, I just look at the chart, right? So, just looking at where price is, where it's looking to go next, is it doing good job of doing that or not? That's kind of like how I view things when it comes to markets. And I try not to sentiment gauge too hard. Obviously, CT is more so like an echo chamber too. Everyone kind of reiterates the same thing. So it's important to kind of look at everything in more of a vacuum and formulate your own thoughts before, absorbing or assimilating other people's views, especially on CT is dangerous because everyone starts saying the same fucking thing. And then, yeah, if you're not someone who's able to view things on their own, then it becomes a bit of a problem because you're just given to that. So,
I mean, what was hilarious, like there was tweets getting hundreds of thousands of impressions, basically saying CT's all looking for lower, crypto natives are all looking for a lower price. They're all sidelined. And then I put out a poll asking how many people have, how much of your portfolio is in stable coins.
right.
Although it's like a bit arbitrary, I put 0 to 25%, 25 to 50%, 50 to 75, 75 to 100%. And in the first poll before the dump, 75% of people were fully allocated with 0 to 25% stable coins.
Yep.
And in the second poll after the dump, 81% fully allocated. So people think there's some bearish sentiment and people are sidelined, but the reality is they're
still holding on to their bags, bro.
Yeah, they're
like
allocated.
people like it's crazy because like it's like, okay, well, sentiment alone isn't good enough because people will say, yeah, I'm bearish as fuck, but it's like, okay, how much have you sold? Like, well, how much are you stable over? Like, oh, I'm still like allocated, like 75% allocated. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
It's just
crazy.
bag holders.
Yeah,
I'm so glad that like I did as much selling as I've done of like certain airdrops and like taking as much like when you're getting paid really well from LPs and work and all that other stuff, like taking a bunch back to the bank and paying off important things. Because had I not, and we went through this like how we are now, bro, I'd be so fucking miserable. So I can only assume that CT is that miserable because none of them took anything off the table, which is dumb.
from a like sentiment perspective, and now I'm no expert, but it feels like you kind of want all these people to just have all their hopes and dreams like crushed, and then
Yeah.
and then we find a bottom around there, and then maybe we go up because I just that it's hunting everyone's liquidity right now. It really is.
What
All
does
right, let's
that
talk
worse
about.
though?
That's a good point. So let's ask this question: where do you think Bitcoin needs to go for that to happen? Where do you think is the low for Bitcoin right now? I mean, so we're pulling numbers out of our ass right now, obviously, right? But like,
I'm
where
gonna
do you think
pull
that
this
is?
straight out my arsehole, and I'm gonna go 40 to 44.
44, yeah.
That would hurt.
Yeah. That is the actual support, to be honest. Like 44
Yeah,
is.
but I feel like a wick below just to fucking destroy everyone's dreams.
Stoic, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, 44 is definitely on the table. Like, we're not ruled that out. Um, even yeah, anything in that region would definitely, like, we'll see bear market, and yeah, I think that sentiment comes back. If it's not, I honestly don't have a good read on sentiment because I don't. When I go on crypto Twitter, I'll just like post and dip, and then either that or I'll see some tweets on my I don't even go on my For You page anymore. It's just following, go on there for like a couple of minutes. So I don't really have a good read on sentiment. But judging by what you're saying, Hoeem, it sounds like people are bag holding for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Twitter like quite a lot, so
Yeah.
I can sort of tell. Like, I'm quite tuned in with how my engagement's doing and how my
Yeah.
newsletter reads are doing, and that's all just down, 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 down. So people are like fed up, but they're still holding their bags. So
Yeah.
um, that's a dangerous place to be in, and I think we spoke about that in a few episodes before, and then we had a
Hmm.
relief pump. So like that, we had a little relief pump, and everyone got back in with leverage, and then got their asses handed to them again. Um, yeah, it's savage. It's a savage market.
I really think I'm almost kind of in the camp that I would prefer everybody gets super depressed with Bitcoin not going as low as we wanted to. Really just like vicious chop, which we've kind of been doing, but like for longer. Right? Like that would just demotivate so many people. The constant like, oh, we're pumping, we're gonna make it, and then just a BART back down, you're like, fuck. And just
Mm.
like just back and forth, just really making it miserable. I mean, you could even downward, like you could chop all the way like and chop downwards, I guess, towards like 44. And not even just like one big vicious candle, but just the slowest grind bleed out would shake out so many people from wanting to be involved in space ever. Good thing or
So
bad thing, I guess take it as you will, but
I feel
Yeah. I
that.
mean, at the low so far. So one thing that I talk about a lot on Twitter, if anyone follows me, is I talk about spot. So for if you want to see strength in the move, you want to see spot following through and chasing and buying when price starts to move up. So currently, what we're seeing at the low is every time spot has been stepping in and buying, but then there's no follow through, right? So they are absorbing at the lows, but then we get like a little bit of a bounce, and then it gets sold into immediately. So until that environment changes, right? Until we see spot chasing price, we're going to stay in this environment where it's going to be choppy, and the market is pretty liquid currently. The books are pretty thin. So you'll see these violent moves in both directions. Um, that's something to be mindful of. That's something I'm keeping an eye on too. I don't know if you guys know about this platform called Sentiment. They were kind enough to let me check out their platform. They basically track social sentiment, and then they have metrics in terms of wallets, old wallets buying or whale wallets buying and stuff. So I think they had some metric recently where on every dip, small wallets are capitulating. We're talking about Bitcoin, and large wallets have been accumulating. So that's some copium or good news if you want to. If in this episode so far we've been pretty. I wouldn't say negative. I mean, we're just being real, right? We're just being real. This is what we're thinking right now, which can obviously change by tomorrow. Not that I
mm-hmm.
see that happening that quick, but Obviously, the market is a dynamic place, so that can change. But yeah, just to give some positive sentiment, I think I saw sentiment metrics show that whale wallets have been accumulating Bitcoin at the lows into the 50s. So just something to keep an eye on and to be mindful of.
I mean, yeah, there's so little liquidity in Bitcoin. So I mean, a way for like a whale to manage to get like a large amount would be for them to hunt liquidations and hunt stops, and then accumulate spot, and then wait and do the same thing again, and then accumulate more spot in like a large, drawn out range, rather than just twapping it like Sailor. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
like
exactly. And the spot game is like it's more patient, right? So just because they're buying here doesn't mean that this is going to be the generational fucking bottom. I mean, it very well could be. You obviously want to weigh out all scenarios, but yeah, spot is a more patient game, so people can buy and accumulate in a wider range, especially whales. So that's a good point.
yeah, you know, they're probably thinking years, not months.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, exactly.
But you can't do that with alts, so don't.
Yeah, man. Alts is just yeah. I mean, most of the shit is
Alts
vaporware.
has
To be
been
honest,
like the worst investment for people this
vaporware,
entire
bro.
year.
Vaporware.
Yeah,
Like
there's still things I get excited about though. Like I can't help myself. I really
I
can't.
do too,
Yeah, of
though.
course.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like
No, there's a
neat
lot of
stuff.
like innovation and exciting things. Like you know, there's DAD that I'm excited about, which is like a decentralized stable coin. Who's like, do you know
Oh,
Jerry Roth?
DYAD.
Yeah, DYAD.
Yeah.
And you know, if people are looking for stable yield, um, they could come and park their money there. And with it being, you know, if you look at the other stable coins market cap, with it being still only, what is this? Let me actually find the numbers before I just start spouting random things out. What is the market cap of DAD? Yeah, so it's 16 million. So it's small for a stablecoin project. So you know, especially with like the fuck ups of Maker recently, people probably might be looking at other areas, other stablecoins, and if DAD is one that they look towards, then their token Kerosene could increase in value if the excess capital in their system is grows over time, which it should do if more people want to find stablecoin yield. But yeah, that's interesting to me. Like the upside's huge potentially if you're comparing that stablecoin to other ones. But yeah, it's whether it works.
Yeah, I remember. I think he said his name was Jerry. I think he like showed me Diet in my DMs like a long time ago. I was like, oh, this is sick, and then just totally forgot about it.
Yeah, I
And
think
they're killing it.
yeah they're doing well. Look like the deposits and stuff are like. I mean, they've had some dips in the last few days because I mean we've been tanking, so probably people want to try get their collateral out of the system and sell before we dump harder. But that's understandable. But it's up and to the right for holders of DAD, for TVL, for deposits, for collateral. So that continues over time. Then that's quite an exciting project to look at, just to keep an eye on. Yeah, that's
What do y'all think of DPIN? Like, not necessarily because like some of those tokens are fucking stupid, right? And they suck. But like the overall like idea of the sector.
I like the idea.
I like the idea. I mean, it's a compelling idea. Um,
One of the few that we get in crypto, to be fair.
what'd you say?
I said like one of the few like really compelling ideas that we get in crypto.
Oh yeah, for
Like,
sure.
hey, let's make this infrastructure shit better.
I mean, the Helium network. I mean that shit's working. That's crazy. That's cool.
Yeah,
Only thing
got
is with them is that how many tokens have they got? The bastards, quite a few.
a lot.
I think they've got. I know they HNT is the main one, but I swear they've got some other weird ones. Let me look.
Yeah, while you're looking, I mean, this might sound bad, like, but my perspective is basically, I'm not a DeFi purist. Like, I haven't seen anything that has proven itself to me, right? So, aside from Bitcoin, like, I had someone reach out to me, like a family friend, and they were like, "Oh, I'm looking to invest in these coins for the next 2 years," and I'm like, "Bro, there's
Bitcoin.
no investment. Like, you cannot. There's no holding for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Just buy Bitcoin if you're looking to invest for a longer term right now." So for me, it's like that's just what this space feels like right now. Like there's so much saturation, everything. Like most of these assets just seem like a way to speculate on price. You know what I'm saying? And there is innovation happening, but right now, the way I see it, I just haven't seen anything that's proven itself to me in terms of being a longer term investment, if you want to call it that. Like I just don't see it.
I think the only things that are going to do that are the stuff that like actually build some kind of real world thing, right? Like, so the deep end stuff makes sense as a quote unquote investment. If there's actually like good ones out there, right? Like I haven't done the enough of a deep dive in it as I'd like, but like, you know, there's like energy stuff. There's, you know, the HNT, even AI to a degree, even though I think some of those tokenomics are bad. But like that stuff kind of makes sense. But if you're telling me you're buying Uni for the next 4 years, like I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. Cause like
Uni V4, bro.
yeah, even stuff kind of like Link and like some of that stuff never really made sense to me either. Like I think most alts, if people are calling them investments, should literally just be vehicles to accumulate more Bitcoin or ETH.
Yeah, there's no investment. The way I see it, like I just don't see like
No, there's not.
holding anything long term in this space besides Bitcoin right now. To be honest.
Yeah,
That'll probably change too once the space matures. I really think, as much as people are probably going to hate it, crypto is going to grow to a point where it just mirrors the stock market. It's going to less become like, you know, this Wild Wild West thing. It is going to be like a more traditional. You invest in something in a slow growth period for however long. I think it'll be a long time before we get to that, but like we're just going to trend towards being a stock market type thing.
You know, honestly, Schizo, like I see where you're coming from, but I honestly think as long as on chain is around, I don't think that like it's still gonna be like that's not gonna change.
Yeah, because I guess they could still like people could just launch random shit, right?
Yeah.
and like run up a giant.
I think that'll be
for like
a long time before we get to a point where it's like, you know, the on chain, as long as the on chain casinos here, I think it'll be a while.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I don't see that
because that's something that stocks never had.
I
There was
just want
always just
both
stock
to exist at the
exchanges.
same time. I really do. I just want things that are like exciting just to go up alongside dog shit. It really is depressing with just dog shit all the time.
This may hot take. I think we would be so much better off without memes.
Bro,
Yeah.
this cycle was just straight memes and then
Terrible.
like,
Is it right? Like, what didn't Doge top out and the whole market just like went with it afterwards? Like at some point, like it just feels once the fervor hits for these meme coins, like we're smoke, we're toast.
Yeah, I think like on this next run up, when we get one, I'm sure we will get one at some point. When meme coins are detracting from quite, you know, you can argue quote unquote value like as much as you want, but like other coins that actually have products or things that are being built and they're bleeding against just meme coins and it's only meme coins getting any attention, I'm selling everything.
Yeah, I should have seen that fucking in February at this point.
I mean, like,
bro, the beginning of this year, right? There was a point where, remember that Slurf thing where someone burned like 10 million? Was it, how many million was it? Someone's like, people sent in, it was like a pre-sale, and people sent in millions of dollars, and people were sending money to random wallets for pre-sales on Sol, and that was literally like, that just showed you how much froth there was in that period of time.
and then you had celebrity coins to add to the mix.
Yeah, that was a mess.
I mean, yeah, I feel a little bit stupid for not thinking that was a top signal.
but you know, that's how it is though, man. Like
Yeah.
I think, you know, majority of people did not see that as a top signal. But you know, in hindsight, it's always easy to say, oh, like, you know, obviously that made sense. But looking back at it, if you really want to talk about it, you know, obviously this is hindsight, but it was actually insane. Like people were sending millions in Sol to pre-sale wallets, like random, like, you know, someone tweeting out a wallet. And yeah, it was a shit show. It was a shit show.
The thing with like froth is that when it comes, it's usually like in and around a top, but that froth can last a lot longer than you think. So you know, like if that lasted for a couple of more months, we could have had like a roaring crazy like alt market potentially. You don't know, so it's hard because you sell everything and then you start seeing all your coins doing like 2, 3, 4x out of nowhere. Then you just miss the best bit of the froth. So like it's
Yeah, it's definitely greed though, right? But once it
is
gets to
great.
that point, we
Yeah.
agreed at that point. We're just like, okay, like how much more can I milk out of this shit?
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
like you
it's
said, this
true.
market is extremely reflexive, right? So
Yeah.
once it starts going in one direction, obviously, like it could keep going, like it could keep have momentum in that direction far before the narrative is shifting. And
And it's
so
so
that's why it's hard to time tops and bottoms, right? And that's why you shouldn't try to top tops and bottoms.
No.
We've had this
No.
conversation multiple times. So
We're so momentum based. I mean, you can see because we, going back to the Trump thing, how much we ripped just off of that. If you weren't like awake or functioning, like you would have woke up and been like, "What the fuck? How'd we get here?" Because like everybody was talking about they were like depressed and selling their houses and shit, and like now we're all the way back here. What the fuck happened? Like it just happens. It's quick. Like we're so momentum based. People just pile in when stuff like that happens, which I almost think is a worst case scenario because like people can take advantage of that. Like whenever there's news announcements, right? Like that's some of the hardest / easiest trading because you just fade everybody. Half the time the crowd's always wrong.
yeah, exactly. And that same phenomenon takes place in the other direction as well, right? So there's reflexivity in the other direction. Once people start selling, people pile in at bottoms to sell. So
yeah.
Did you
for a hard market.
On a sobering topic, did you see what happened to Nick Dracon? I mean that's frightening.
Oh man. Yeah.
what happened?
That makes me sad.
So I've known Nick since 2021, I think. Yeah, so he's been like a public, you know, he's a former professional poker player, and he's set up a Revolut Ventures, like a research-based company. He had, you know, he's a doxed individual, so people know who he is, and he posts images online of like him having breakfast sometimes near probably where he lives, and he's obviously been geolocated, or someone's told him someone where he lives, and they've gone over to him and done an armed robbery and threatened his wife and 8-month-old son to hand over all of his keys and the money held in his businesses that he operates all on his ledger. And you know, that's really frightening and really sad. Just yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm never going to dox myself or give away any you know information that's personal like that. You don't know, like these criminals are watching all the time. It's frightening.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah,
but
and like
that's
so, like where you are, you can be strapped where you are, you boys. But
I was gonna say I was like, fucking find me.
oh, I am.
You
I
ain't
am.
leaving
Trust
my
me.
yard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I am.
but that's
Trust me.
not a possibility here in Europe.
If
So
there's anything to like speak to about what's nice about living in the US and being in crypto, besides the fact, that freedoms or whatever, but you do have like the freedoms to hold guns. So like
yeah,
you come my neighborhood, bro, like you got a bunch of people
yeah,
ready to I just gotta call my neighbor.
Yeah,
Be
yeah,
like, hey, park up. But like,
yeah.
you guys can't. That is honestly really frightening. Like having a 2-year-old and like my wife and thinking it's somebody I fucking give everything.
Oh, of course,
Fucking
you're shooting them
everything.
down.
Have it
Of
all.
course,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's a scary. You know, you hear the stories of that happening to people, but you don't know them. And then when you hear it to someone you know and
You know, it's different.
and you've spoken
Mhm.
to a lot of times and had like long conversations with, and he's given me recommendations on restaurants when I've been away on holiday and stuff like. It's nice. It's a nice guy. Yeah, it hits home a little bit. It's frightening. So this thing, yeah,
Yeah, no,
Well,
that's
keep your
unfortunate.
shit
And you
tight.
know, you hear the stories at conferences and stuff too. So it's like, just be careful
yeah,
about.
they'll
I
get
know some
robbed,
people are doxxed. I mean, I try my best to stay
like
as
base
private
dogs.
as I can.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna continue to keep it that way because yeah, don't want to get into any that kind of situation, which I am prepared for. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm
Yeah,
prepared for that. But yeah, you don't want to willingly end up in that type of a situation. So I think
that's
it's a good
brutal.
point to, especially in this space, to be careful and to be as private to as you want. I know some people are comfortable with doxing and doing all that stuff. I'm not. So
Yeah, it almost makes sense as to like you really do want to keep as much shit private as possible. Like it goes to the effect of like some of the richest people don't drive fancy cars, they don't have whatever because you just don't want to advertise your wealth, especially in a progressing world where people are losing more money either to inflation or shitty governments. Like we had this talk on a different episode, but like people are really fucking kind of poor. Like it sucks. Like groceries are up, like everything's up. So like, why would you advertise your wealth in a spot where people can find you? Because anybody can be found.
Yeah, I'm literally dead poor. I don't own any crypto whatsoever.
Yeah, I listen. I went to zero this
Yeah,
past few weeks. I'm on red, guys.
yeah.
You can
yeah.
come get me, but you ain't gonna get much.
Oh, you can try. You could try.
Yeah, yeah.
You can try.
I
I'm
mean,
ready. But yeah, I don't.
we'll see who's
I
walking out.
don't. Yeah, yeah. I don't have any money. Just
No.
let everyone know there's no
This is
money
all
here.
not financial advice. We're all idiots. We've lost all our money multiple times.
Yeah.
Talking about money, 11 minutes ago, someone just bought a CryptoPunk for 620 ETH,
What the fuck?
$1.5 million.
Dude,
Who the?
if you have that much ETH, what
That's
the
got to be
fuck
money
are you
laundering or
doing?
something, bro. Like, there's so
Has
much
to
shit
be.
that I questioned where it's like, yeah, it's like someone's trying to launder money or doing some weird shit.
Yeah.
Cause like, go fucking farm. Go throw that. Like, go throw all of that into like Maker or something. Borrow a bunch of stables and just farm for the rest of your life. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like,
I
there's a
think
certain amount of
it's
money.
probably laundering, to be honest. Let's be real.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's not, like, you have too much money.
Like you can probably put it through as put all this money and wash it through as like capital gains tax or whatever.
Probably. Although this brings up a good question, not about money laundering, a separate question. On a somewhat like not as depressing note, okay? For the whole episode, I feel like I'm a teenager again in Hot Topic. Um, if let's say you guys make it, right? You hit a certain amount of money that you're like, cool. This is where I've always wanted to be. I'm great. How would you? I don't know how to ask this question. How would you or what would be some things you would do to secure your wealth? Like, are you buying real estate? Are you um, farming stables? Like, what's your guys like? Because this topic has always fascinated me when you talk about like high wealth, high net worth individuals. Um, like some of the things people do to like sustain that wealth once they get it. I find that shit absolutely fucking fascinating. So I'm curious
Mm.
if you guys have thought about that before, or if you're just kind of like just living in the moment, trying to eke the best out of each week as you can.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about this because I don't want to dox myself. But I've already started that process of diversification in the real world, whether it's like real estate or consulting services or other work that I do outside of here. So I think it's a good point, and it's something to keep in mind because, especially in the U.S., right? Um, I've spoken to a lot of people that have no plan in terms of what they're gonna do, and they don't even understand how taxes work. They haven't even thought of, hey, how am I gonna, get this money out?
Get a tax guy for everyone.
Ye-
That is such good advice. Get a
Yeah,
fucking tax guy.
yeah,
Continue.
100%. And you'll be surprised. I don't know how many people you've spoken to, but most people that I've spoken to in this space that live in the U.S. at least have no fucking clue. Like they're just like just sitting at their screens 24/7 and are living like that fucking meme with the mattress with the mattress on the
Yeah,
floor
bro.
and like a laptop.
They got hella money
They'll-
and have no idea what to do with it.
Yeah, have 7 figures or whatever, and live like shit and have no plan whatsoever. Don't even have any consideration in terms of like what what they're gonna do with the money, what the process is to even get the money out. So I think this is a good reminder to what are you doing this shit for? Like, I mean, if it's as long as it's on your you see these numbers on your screen, they're just that. Like, make sure to take profit, like improve your lifestyle, like fucking I don't know, take care of your health, look after people that you care and love, around you, and have some kind of strategy in terms of like, okay, what are you gonna do in the future? What are you looking to do with the money that you're making? And think about those questions. I think it's important.
I would diversify in stocks, property, and bonds.
Yeah. I kind of have a similar thing too.
Have enough income from that to sustain my lifestyle.
Because you really don't need people think you need like fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to do shit, but you really if you have no debt, you don't really need a whole lot of money.
No,
Per month to do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
You really don't.
And there's so much disillusionment when it comes to this space, right? With when it comes to money, like you see all those tweets in terms of, hey, is 100 million enough to retire? I'm like, bro,
it's crazy. I think you can have a really good life on between like $60,000 to $100,000 a year.
Facts. I can tell you that as I do.
Yeah, like you
paid off all my debts.
You can have a great life, and that's freedom to me. If I could have that passive from dividends through properties through bonds, then that's freedom.
Absolutely.
People
that's
think
huge.
it's like big houses, multiple cars, but you know how cool it is to wake up and go, I'm going to take my son to the zoo today, and just go fuck off to the zoo and don't have to do anything else. You just go to the grocery and you just get what you need. You don't really necessarily worry. Obviously, that shit's still high as fuck, and I don't want to pay it. You don't have to really worry about it. You feel like, hey, let's go on vacation next year and just go because you can. That's freedom. That shit's that's what you want.
I'm going to be working hard over the next year to off ramp and just get it into the system properly and legally and make sure that's all set up. But I'm never leaving.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this brings up a good philosophical. We don't have to get too philosophical here, but I think a good question to ask yourself if you're listening in is like, what does freedom look like for you? Like, what does it mean to you, right? For some people, it could be okay. Like if I make a passive income of 60 to 100K every year, that's good for me in terms of how I want to live my life and how I want it to look. And for others, that might be different, but at least at least try to answer that question for yourself. Like, what does it look like for you, right? And like you said, I mean, I would think like for most people, like making a 6-figure passive income every year is a good amount of money.
Insane.
to live comfortably.
That's the dream. That is a dream.
No.
Like I don't.
Yeah,
I
you
really
don't
don't
need
understand
millions.
the weird flexes. Yeah.
So don't fall. Yeah. So don't fall into this shit about like, oh, like I need to make like $10 million this run, or I need to fucking
Need
make
rollies
$10
on
million
both
this
wrists.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's how you blow up. I actually have a story. Let's do some story time here. So I personally knew someone who's been around for a couple of cycles. This last run, the last cycle, he started with high six figures and he ran it up to 8Ms. And his goal, like he had a number in mind though. This is where it fucks up, right?
Oh no.
He had a number of 10Ms. Like he wanted to hit 10. And in that pursuit, he blew up most of his, like he ran it back down to like mid six figures.
Because you try too hard.
Yeah. And he had that number in my, like 10Ms. That's like the, so like, yeah, it's good to have milestones, but don't, there's this paradox. The more you try to chase after something, the more it fucking runs away from you. So, like for me, I'm going to be here no matter what, because I actually enjoy doing this. Like I love being in the market. Like this is something that I'm passionate about. Right. And so that's what I tell people. Like, I know everyone has their numbers and all this shit, but try not to attach yourself to that because it can bite you in the ass.
For sure.
It's almost like have an amount in mind that like what's the bare minimum you need to get by in a year. And it's like anything after that is just gravy. It's like cool. That's nice to have. As long as you can pay bills and do what you have to do, like people really it is like a I don't know, some weird thing where it's like you see rollies and fucking all this shit being flexed and you're like you're like, oh, I can do that. I can be like that. It's easy. Just run up a couple memes, and it's like you really don't need that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's just don't.
And it's also. What'd you say?
I was gonna get philosophical, boys.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Get philosophical.
Reach for the stars, and if you fall short and land on the moon, be happy with where you are and look around you, baby.
Bro, did you put the mic inside of your mouth?
He fucking deep throated that shit just so we could really hear him deep inside. He just ASMR'd you. You're all welcome.
But I think going back to that conversation we were having, I think a good way to keep yourself level-headed especially if you're always on, you're in the space 24/7 and you're dealing with crypto is, if you have friends that have 9-to-5s, which there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I don't know, people, everyone has their own way of looking at things, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to be a business owner, if you want to work for yourself, that's one thing, but don't shit on people that are busting their ass. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
Or calling people
because of him.
Yeah, or calling people poor and all this shit. Like poor, you're only poor in mentality. There's no, all this fucking talk about, oh, you're poor, you don't have money and shit. That's all. Like the way I look at it is, you're poor in terms of mentality. Like rich and poor, I see as a mentality, not fucking how much money you have in your bank account, right? So if you surround yourself with people outside, like I have friends that have nothing, don't know jack shit about crypto, and I'll talk to them, and it really keeps you, I guess, grounded and also in touch with reality, right? So I think that's something, being socially,
you need to ground yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this space gets a little bit diluted, becomes a bit of a circle jerk.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, that's all I had to say.
That's what I never understand. Those like stupid like fucking self-help or like millionaire gurus. So like, you need to dump all your friends and be around people that are going for success. Bro, that's just fucking stupid. Like, have your friends and be close to them and stay grounded and be a good human. You don't need to fucking just ditch all your friends because they're not on the same path as you.
Yeah, exactly. We're social creatures, man. We're social creatures, and I feel like a lot of people in this space like just fucking do away with that aspect completely, which is pretty evident when you talk to some people. They're like, you can't even fucking hold a conversation. Like I happened to go to the one conference, and so I believe you were there to eat Denver. Yeah, I talked to some people, and I was just like, bro, what the fuck? Like, what is this? You know what I'm
Bro,
saying? Like,
these
it's
people
just
have
like talking.
no fucking social cues.
Yeah. Yeah, you were telling. I think you
Zero.
were the one telling us, right? You were just having a conversation. Someone just fucking like just randomly came in and started talking
Bro,
about.
I
something completely-
I was talking with like the Curvans team at like one of their parties, and it's just chilling, and this fucking midget just walks up, dude, and just stands right next to us, and I'm like talking, and I just kept like looking over at him as I'm talking, and I'm just like, "Can I help you?" And he's like, "Yeah, man. Have you guys heard of the stable coin market? Blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! You did not just come over here and interrupt
Yo,
my
bro,
shit."
Schizo, you're about to get us canceled. I think midget is not a socially what is it, politically correct term these days. We're about to get canceled on episode 6.
Fucking short person. Listen, if you're under fucking 5'5",
Buddy, the person you're
don't have
standing
a
next to
disease.
is 5'6".
Oh my god.
yeah. Well, listen, I'm at least. I know I was short at Denver. These all y'all fucking tall Slavic motherfuckers. I'm almost 5'11", right? Like I'm an average height. I'm a good height.
Good
Feel
man.
like I can talk down if you're under 5'6". If you don't
That's
come
not
to my
average.
shoulders,
That's taller than average. I think average is like 5'6" or 5, isn't it 5'7" or
it?
something? I think it's
Fuck
5'7".
yeah, boys!
There you go.
I'm tall as shit.
Let's
Let's
fucking go.
go. Yeah. Any hoozle. Yeah, fucking short bastard. I hope your project went to 0. Market got me
Alright.
salty. I'm throwing out strays.
All right, guys. I think this conversation is quickly starting to devolve. Even though we didn't start on the best fucking, we didn't start on some high note either. But
I mean,
5'7"
yeah, we started
and a
on market
half.
jumping. Is average? Okay.
5. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought. I thought it was
baby.
around 5'7".
Oh, it's so good being a 6'2", tall, athletic, handsome human being. God
Oh
damn.
my
What
God,
a
here we
what
go.
a dopamine boost you just gave me. Feeling so good right now. Go,
There you
Hoeem.
Good shit, man.
There you
And
go.
Stoic too. Bring me up.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think we're coming
bro,
close
boy.
to an
That's what
hour.
friends
Yeah,
are
let's
for, man.
wrap it.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. It's just a couple of friends getting together and talking about what's on our minds. There's no fucking fancy editing, production, or anything like that. We post our raw conversations, and we hope you're able to take away some actionable things or advice or frameworks or something that's thought provoking at the very least. We'll try to keep these more consistent moving forward.
Should
And that's all.
we finish with final words each?
Yeah, go ahead. What's final words?
God,
know.
grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot
I
change,
cannot change.
the courage to
The
change
courage
the
to
things I
accept the
can,
things I can.
and the wisdom to know the
wisdom
difference.
To know the difference.
Okay.
Just for
So-
the day.
Okay, so you guys have the same last words here.
Yeah.
You just brought back when I worked in the psych hospital and I had to do AA meetings.
Oh my God.
I knew that shit from heart.
All right,
Let your
final words from
desires
me.
be ruled by reason.
Okay, ignore Hoeem now. Ignore Hoeem. Final words for me. Okay, it's a quote from Bukowski, who I'm a big fan of, and it goes, "What matters most is how well you walk through the fire." And on that note, we're gonna end this episode.
Beautiful.
Talk to you guys soon. Take it easy.